Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report Chiefs postgame live stream. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs' big-time win over the Los Angeles Rams in Week 12 of the NFL season. So yet again, Chiefs Kingdom, we're coming at you with a Tuesday postgame live stream. I try to get these up as soon as I can. Really busy with school, but I wanted to get this video out nonetheless because the Chiefs won a pretty uneventful game at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday night. You know, it was just kind of a clunker from the offense. The defense, I want to give them my props right away. The defense looked fantastic. They were flying around the ball. They were making some big-time hits on the Los Angeles Rams. They were able to get to Bryce Perkins, the third-string quarterback that was playing for the Los Angeles Rams, and they were able to get some great pressure on him, and ultimately they ended up sacking him. I believe it was, it was 3 times. So the Chiefs were able to do their job defensively, but offensively, they just left a lot to be desired. It just kind of felt like, you know, they did enough to win this game. Travis Kelce had a big-time catch for a touchdown where he was able to get past the second line of the Rams defense. He ran it in, kind of what Travis Kelce just does. But again, I mean, this offense was just kind of stale. Isaiah Pacheco did get a rushing touchdown in this game. L'Jarius Sneed, not L'Jarius Sneed that I want to talk about, but going back up to the offense, Travis Kelce had 4 receptions for 57 yards and that 1 touchdown catch. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had 4 receptions for 56 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster had 3 catches for 38 yards. Sky Moore, continuing to show out in his rookie season, had 5 receptions for 36 yards. However, Sky Moore did fumble yet another punt. I don't understand why the Chiefs continue to put him out there. I feel like it's not on him anymore. If he keeps fumbling, that's a Dave Toub problem. Why is he out there? And finally, we saw it later on in the game that they just put Justin Watson out there. But you can't continue to put Sky Moore out there as a punt returner. And when he keeps fumbling the ball, you can't blame him. That's Dave Toub's problem because he doesn't deserve to be out there. He's lost all of his confidence. And just keep him as a receiver, because as a receiver, he's actually done fairly well, at least in the past couple of weeks. But again, I want to talk about the offense because that's what a lot of Chiefs fans are concerned about in this game. Now, coming into this game, a lot of people, and not just Chiefs fans, they predicted the Chiefs to absolutely wipe the floor with the JV Rams team, so to speak. The Rams were not good going into this game. They lost a lot of pieces on offense. They had no Cooper Kupp, no not Robert Woods, no, I can't remember, the Bears receiver that we wanted in free agency, but we didn't get. I'm drawing a blank on his Allen Robinson. No Allen Robinson, no Cooper Kupp, no Matthew Stafford. They came into this game with Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and their starting quarterback was Bryce Perkins. And Bryce Perkins didn't play great. He was kind of thrown into the fire, but at times he did look pretty impressive with his scrambling ability. I think he ended up having 44 yards rushing. But the Chiefs offensively were not going to blow this team out. For whatever reason, the Chiefs just underestimate their opponent, and they always come into these games, the games that they should just wipe the floor with a subpar opponent. They come into these games and they just kind of fiddle around. They don't really try to go full pedal to the metal all the time. And that's why we only saw 26 points on a pretty mediocre offensive performance. I think the Chiefs probably played a C plus game. And ultimately it was enough to beat the Rams by multiple touchdowns. But I think that everybody kind of expected the Chiefs to really win this game by a lot more than they actually did. But I think that, you know, if you've been a Chiefs fan long enough, you kind of understand that this is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are known for coming into these games and not really playing up to expectation. Doesn't mean they're not going to win the game. They win these games 9 out of 10 times. But I think a lot of Chiefs fans are like, oh, it's not going to be good enough for the playoffs, and it's not going to be good enough to go to a Super Bowl. And you're right by saying that. But my counter argument is that whenever the Chiefs have to step up and play a great opponent in a big time game, they're always going to meet that expectation and rise to the challenge. Even when they lost to the Bills at home earlier this year, they came to play in that game. They made a couple mistakes down the stretch, but let's be honest, guys, like they still played the Bills really, really well. And I just think that it's not really much to be concerned about. The offense is going to figure it out. If anything, I think that we can take encouragement from how well this defense played. They only gave up a touchdown and a field goal, and that touchdown was kind of a cheap touchdown. So I really will take the defensive performance that we saw. And the defense hasn't been the problem this year. I mean, they've literally been a middle of the pack defense, which we've always said that with Patrick Mahomes, if they can just be an average defensive unit, they were going to be good enough to do some damage. And they're 9-2 right now, guys. They're 9-2. They're sitting at the top of the AFC. They have a big gap in the AFC West. At this point, the Chiefs have done everything that we expected them to do and more. Now, granted, we have a lot of football left to be played, but if the Chiefs can continue playing this kind of football, it's not always going to be pretty. There's going to be some games that are really ugly, quite frankly, but as long as you can survive and advance, so to speak, you're going to be fine. The Chiefs found a way to win this game. Granted, it wasn't the prettiest game we've ever seen, but they were able to get the job done, and that's really all I care about. And we can expect them to get better in the coming weeks. But I really just think that they were able to handle business, and it might not have been pretty, but a win's a win. I really don't care. The Chiefs are 9-2, and the Rams are 3-8, but I think that the Rams are a much better 3-8 team than a lot of people give them credit for. I mean, that defense is still legit. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, who's kind of had a little bit of a down year, but it's still a solid defensive unit. The offense just didn't have most of their weapons. But I think that, hey, it doesn't really matter how you win games. It just matters that you win games. And the Chiefs' offense might not have been great in this game. They might not have been good in this game, but they did the job just enough to get that win. Now, something that I want to talk about really quickly is the rushing game. So Isaiah Pacheco had 22 carries for 69 yards, which his longest run being nine yards, which that's good. I'll take that. Ronald Jones finally got into the game. He had 4 carries for 12 yards, and then he had a big-time catch out of the backfield where he had 1 catch for 22 yards. So Ronald Jones being inactive for 11 weeks of the season has finally, succeeded, and now he's on this team getting some pretty meaningful snaps and playing some time. I didn't expect him to have that kind of impact on this game, but maybe the Chiefs, with Clyde being out, are going to try to activate him more and try to get him more involved in the passing and the running game. But again, I mean, the rushing wasn't great in this game for as much as they did carry the ball. I mean, they had 30 carries combined between 3 guys, and they only were able to get, I guess 117 yards collectively is good enough. But, I would like to see Pacheco do a little bit better in between the tackles. I'm really kind of curious to see what we get from Ronald Jones, and I would like to see more McKinnon. But, I'm not really going to stress about this offense because we've seen them have some pretty bad games and then follow that up with a great game and then follow that up with being consistently great. And at the end of the day, like, this game in the grand scheme of things, it means something, but it doesn't mean something. Like, I think that we get so spoiled as Chiefs fans, but it really is true. Like, they aren't playing to win these games. They're playing to win the ultimate prize of a Super Bowl, and this was just one step along the journey. It doesn't matter how you get to the end goal. It just matters that you get to the end goal. And the fact that they were able to come out of this game with no injuries and, you were able to see some improvement from the defense, and the offense is still trying to work through some things without Mecole Hardman and Clyde and all those guys missing, I'll take this win. They're going to be fine. I want to give a shout out to the guys in the chat. What's going on, Tony? What's going on, Jordan? I appreciate all 6 of you watching this post-game live stream on a Tuesday night. But I really did want to get this video out because, the Chiefs are going to be fine, guys. I really don't think that we should be concerned in any way whatsoever. If they would have lost this game, it would have been a head scratcher. It would have been one of those games that they had no business losing. But, if you're going to win ugly, at least you're winning. So I'll take that 100 times out of 100. But I do want to talk about some of the moves the Chiefs have made outside of this game. They just in the last hour and a half signed defensive tackle Brandon Williams to the Chiefs practice squad, which that if you've seen what Brandon Williams looks like, he's like 335 pounds of pure muscle. I don't know if he's going to end up actually coming up and playing, probably not. But the next guy, a guy that I kind of expected the Chiefs to go to get, I don't really know why I thought that they would, but the Chiefs picked up running back Melvin Gordon. Now, hopefully for the Chiefs' sake, he doesn't end up making it up to the active roster and playing any significant snaps for two reasons. If that ends up happening, we've had some big injuries. Also, he's a fumbling machine. Any Denver Broncos fan would tell you that they do not trust Melvin Gordon with the football. He had like 5 fumbles in his first 5 or 6 games. Like he's not reliable with the football in his hands. So I'm kind of curious to see what they ended up doing with him. It'd be kind of ironic if he came to the Chiefs and was able to fix all of those problems and just be an absolute menace. I don't know if that's going to be the case because fumbling, you either fumble the football or you don't fumble the football. No system or scheme is going to change that. And I'd be surprised if he changed ways. But I think that kind of shows you the Chiefs aren't down at looking for new talent. They are still looking to try to make this team better each and every single day. And I think that, right now, the Chiefs are clear-cut the best team in the NFL. They have one of the best records. They have the best record in the AFC. The NFC, you got the Vikings and the Eagles. But I still think that if the Chiefs played any team right now, and specifically in the NFC, the Chiefs are beating any single team in the NFC. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm still a little bit cautious to say that we are better than Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a really good team. Josh Allen's just going through some stuff right now. They're going to be a big threat come playoff time. I'm not really on the Ravens hype train. I don't think that they're all that. The Miami Dolphins could be good. Like, the Chiefs are definitely not going to run through the AFC, but they're the best team as of right now. They have the best record. They've got the best player on the planet. They got the best tight end on the planet. Like, when you have all those pieces, one of the best coaches in the league, when you've got all those pieces, you're going to be just fine. But I do think that it's important that you win these games against lesser opponents like the Los Angeles Rams because it continues to build your cushion. Right now, the Bills are 1 game back from the Chiefs. They've lost a couple more games than the Chiefs, but they have the tiebreaker against the Chiefs. But, as we've kind of seen in years prior, really in the last 2 years, the Buffalo Bills just play the Chiefs really, really well. Against other teams, when they should be motivated to win, they're not so good. Like, they're 0-2 in their division right now. They still have a bunch of division games to play. They're probably going to lose a couple more games this season. So it's important that the Chiefs kind of keep winning and build that cushion and separation because you want the AFC playoff race to go through Arrowhead Stadium. You want it to be at home. You want Patrick Mahomes to be comfortable yet again. And I just think that if you can continue to win these kind of games, it doesn't matter how you win them. It just matters that you win them. And the Chiefs are just going to do everything in their power to get that number 1 seed, get home field advantage, and go back to the freaking Super Bowl. Like, they have a legitimate chance at hosting a 5th straight AFC championship game. That is absurd. To put that into perspective, I'm a sophomore in college. The last time the Chiefs did not host an AFC championship game, I believe I was either in 8th grade or a freshman in high school. That just shows you how good the Chiefs have been, how dominant the Chiefs have been. And it's really an incredible thing to see. And I want to point out this comment from Tony. We got to beat the Bengals this week. It's going to be a tough game, man. Something about the Bengals. The Bengals scare me. There's no reason why they scare me. They just scare me. They have our number. They beat us twice last year. And that AFC championship game is still really painful for me to think about. But I want nothing, and I repeat, nothing to do with the Cincinnati Bengals. Something about that team just scares me. I don't want to see them. But I think that if the Chiefs were to face them again in the playoffs, it'd be a pretty good game. I think that the Bengals are one of those teams that it really doesn't matter what their record is. They're going to try to beat you and play their best football game. And usually their best shot is good enough to beat just about anybody. So I do think that the Bengals are a scary team. Right now, I'm kind of looking at three teams. It's the Buffalo Bills, or not Cincinnati. Well, Cincinnati Bengals being the third team probably because I don't want to see them. But I think Miami's really good. Miami's really good. Tua's playing really well. And so as long as the Chiefs can hold that one seed, you're going to make all of these teams come to your house when it really matters. So the one seed truly is important this year. We want Patrick Mahomes to continue playing at home in the playoffs. And if that's going to happen, the Chiefs are going to have a really good shot to go back to the Super Bowl. And I really am excited to see what happens. And I really think that they could go back. Now, one other thing that happened, which I almost forgot to mention, is yesterday, Patrick Mahomes had his son, Patrick Bronze Levon Mahomes, which he's ended up being the third Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes' dad is Patrick Mahomes Sr. He's Patrick Mahomes. And then Patrick Mahomes, I believe it would be Junior, the third. And so congrats to him. That's obviously great. And honestly, I kind of forgot that Brittany was pregnant with Pat's child because we haven't really heard much about it. So when she ended up having the baby, I was like, oh, well, I kind of forgot that whole thing was happening. But, I think that is almost going to not have much of an impact on Pat. I mean, he's been a dad for about 1.5 years now, almost 2 years. And so he knows what it's like. That's not going to have that big impact that a lot of people think it will. I remember last year when Sterling was born, a lot of people have a weird infatuation with his family. I don't get that. But people were really concerned that, Pat being a dad for the first time was going to kind of take away from his play on the football field. And granted, we haven't seen what that's like with 2 children. But right now, he's on pace to be the NFL MVP. So I don't think it's going to shake him very much. It's a great thing. And who knows, guys? Maybe the Chiefs should try to draft him as soon as possible because those genetics, if Pat can just train that kid, we might have our next franchise quarterback. I wouldn't be against taking him in the 6th or 7th round because, heck, he might end up being a really good football player. But in all seriousness, no, congrats to Pat. He didn't play great in this Rams game to kind of try to bring it back. He did throw a pretty bad interception, but as I heard somebody say, I think it was Josh Briscoe of the Sports Radio 810 postgame show, for as much as Patrick Mahomes does and as many of the crazy plays that he makes, 9 out of 10 times he's going to complete that. 9 out of 10 times he's going to do the impossible. And the one time that he doesn't, you can't really freak out because he does it on the 9 other attempts. You know what I mean? Like, he is so great consistently by doing things that nobody else wants or will even try to do. So you kind of just have to accept it when it doesn't go your way. But again, guys, like 9 out of 10 times, Patrick Mahomes is going to make that impossible play. And I'm okay with taking that chance that 1 or 2 times it's not going to work out. That's just kind of the risk that you have to take when you have a generational quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. So that's kind of all I have to say about that. The Chiefs were able to escape this game with the win against the Los Angeles Rams. They won this game at Arrowhead Stadium by a final score of 26-10. With this win, the Chiefs advanced to 9-2 on the season and 5-1 at home. And with the loss, the Rams fall to 3-8, and they drop to 1-4 on the road. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching this Chiefs post-game live stream. Have a good night, and I will see you hopefully earlier the next Tuesday with the Chiefs and Bengals post-game recap. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.